Welcome back, sir.
Yeah. To the we're gonna say the KBD, the right take, the
Today
premium.
it's still the KBD.
Still the KBD.
Still the KBD podcast.
We should have a poll. We should like take a few names and let people vote.
Yeah. I wonder how many votes we get. It'd
Like-
either be like 5 or 5,000.
Dude, the channel is growing. The
Yeah, it
account
is. Like, we're
growing hard.
Yeah, we're definitely getting views. But
We're-
it's like I was saying. I can't. Whenever we post something, I don't even.
You
go
don't look at it,
after.
yeah.
No, because like you get a lot of good comments, a lot of bad comments, and it definitely evokes an emotion in me as well. And sometimes I'll worry, sometimes I won't worry, sometimes I'll get upset, sometimes I'll get annoyed, sometimes I'll be happy. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Let's just post it, see where it goes.
Sometimes when you reply to like I'll read something, I'm like, that's not right, and I want to reply. I'm like, dude, I'm not just gonna. If I do that, I'm gonna get stuck in the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. And like sometimes too, because you're not going to change the mind of a lot of these people. You're just not. And if someone sees, like, look, if someone's on the opposite end of the political spectrum of you and me, I mean, you're not going to change their mind.
Yeah, well, it's always fun to engage in discourse a little bit. I prone it. You know, you and I we prone free speech. So it's important to be able to also handle the heat that comes with people who disagree.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we got a couple of things that we're going to get to on today's podcast. So thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we get some good clips out of this. I saw the clips too that you're doing on TikTok, so you're commenting on your own clips. You preface it with like a green screen or whatever, and then you would play the clip after.
Yeah, because I can't repost our videos. I get struck.
Oh, that's okay. That's the trick.
That's the trick.
Got it. Because
I try to repost our videos, right? It's literally my face, and TikTok strikes it down, saying that I am unoriginal and
copyright.
I'm stealing content. I'm like,
I'm
bro,
gonna sue you.
It's like TikTok, it's me talking. They don't care. I try to reach out to their text, but they don't give a fuck. So I'm just like, all right, I need to like innovate with something. So the innovation is just me rambling about bullshit and giving commentary. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting commentary to what I said, because sometimes too, and you live it, you're here, you're like in a moment, you're giving a speech or like a rant, and then you think back, you're like, fuck, I forgot to mention XYZ, and that would have made so much more sense. So it's a little commentary.
But it's like commentary I find on TikTok does very well.
Yeah, it's more like you said, right? When you go up the cuff and it's not like scripted and it's more like raw and personal, like you're talking.
Like
yeah, for some reason.
How do you like the app? Because you weren't on the app before.
I still hate the app. I still fuck. I don't know, man. It's weird. I'm not used to it. I'm more of an Insta guy.
What do you find weird on TikTok?
Well, you're 100% at the mercy of the algo. On Instagram as well, but on Instagram, if you have a following, they're still gonna show your stuff to the following. You know what I mean? Whereas on TikTok, it's like, sometimes I'll post a video and I'm like, yo, this shit's gonna go, and then it gets like legit 10 views. I'm like, fuck, and then I can't repost it because again, it's gonna copyright you.
Yeah,
you're not even allowed to repost your own shit. Like, even if like,
I didn't know that.
Let's say I record something right here, I post it, it flops, and I delete it. If I go to repost the exact same video, even though I posted it initially, it doesn't work.
That's interesting. Gary Vee actually was talking about that the other day. So he started another account. So he has his regular Gary Vee account. I think it's like 2.5 million followers. Or it's a big following. He's got a big social media following, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he opened up another account called Gary Vee Comments or something like that.
Yeah, I saw
it's like 3,500 followers, or it's like very minimal. No one follows him. And he was just going through the views of each post. And so his 2.5 million followers, he would make a post that would get 30,000 views, 10,000 views, 5,000 views. And he's like, hey, look, I have 3,500 followers. This post just got 100,000 views. And it's like the TikTok algorithm, to your point, has nothing to do. If a post pops off, it has nothing to do with how many followers you have, like zero. Nothing. And Instagram is, to my understanding, because they never really flat out just tell you what the algorithm is.
Never.
But from what I'm seeing, it's kind of becoming that, where it's not the following that you have, it's how good is the content, how good is the post that you just posted. Yeah. I think that's kind of where all of the apps are starting to go, because TikTok's just like digital fentanyl. I'm on it all the time. I'm on it too much. I delete it like every week. I get in a fight with TikTok, and I'm just like sitting down in my bed, and I'm just like, oh shit, how long have we been on this for? I'm like, don't look, and I'll go and look to see how long I've been on the app for, and it'll be like, you've been on the app for 4 hours today. I'm like, yeah. Bad.
But you know, on your phone you can set up like a watch time limit.
I know. There's all kinds of stuff.
But then again, you still have to have the discipline to hold up, you know?
Well, yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah. Like I get the posts sometimes where it's like, hey, you've been watching TikTok for a little too long now. You might want to go to bed. I'm like, shit. Like it'll literally pop up in my algo.
Oh, fuck. That's, you know, sometimes I see you on TikTok because, like, again, I have like barely any friends or following on there, right? So like sometimes I'll go in like my messages. I see you with like a little green circle. I'm like, fucking
Yeah.
Curtis is watching some stuff.
Yeah.
Either that or he's about to post, because like every time that happens too, a post is about to pop up. So I'm just like on the lookout.
Yeah.
Like I want to be the first one to like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah. It's actually Shem who does all the posting on our on the TikTok, even for my personal.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You know,
Shem's the poster. Shem's big.
Do you read his DMs?
Actually, never.
Well, that's the right answer. Honestly, there's no there's a lot of bots on TikTok.
Oh, is there?
Bro, I get a lot of bots. Like a lot of people faking to be other things. Like there was this other day, this golf influencer. She wasn't even an influencer, but it's basically this old woman. She was Swedish, and I'm 99% sure it's fake.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey," I'm like, I replied with a thumbs up, kind of like, "Okay, what the hell's going on here? Do you play golf?" "Yes." "What's your favorite club?" And I responded, "That's a dumb question." And she's like, "No, it's not. By the way," and then the spiel came out. But if you want to pay for da-da-da-da, I'm like, it's obviously a scam. But there's a lot of that on TikTok.
I see that on
Instagram.
Yeah, well, I see it on Instagram. Probably, again, I have no following on TikTok, on Instagram all the fucking time. It's going to be the weirdest shit, too.
Yeah.
Like, some people just come up like, "Hey, do you want to, like, buy some freaking followers?" No, obviously. But then you have, like, these girls like, "Hey, I'm messaging you from my second account. Follow my primary account."
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck off.
It's probably just too, like, sometimes it's not a complete scam. Sometimes it's actually girls. Just
it's
trying
like
to,
OF girls and
yeah,
shit.
it's an OnlyFans girls,
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. And they're just trying to basically get you off the platform, go subscribe, and make some money on their OnlyFans.
I will never pay a fucking penny to see some
I
online.
I can actually proudly say I've never gone on OnlyFans.
I will
as well.
never. It's like, it's just a matter of principle.
Yeah, I have a buddy who went on. He got his $5, but he's just like, they got me. He's like, it's like I always said I wasn't gonna pay for that, but I paid the $5. And
Dude, you don't even have to go on there. Fuck, yesterday I was watching, there's this show from the UK called Naked Dating. Jesus Christ, the UK, people in Britain are fucking wild. But it's legit people that go like Love Island kind of stuff, and they just go and they're butt naked and have to date each other on the show.
Oh, I've seen this.
It's like, geez,
Yeah.
okay, well, at least you don't even have to go on OnlyFans.
It's kind of like, what was that Keb show? Célibataire et nu.
Oh my god. Yeah, but that was in freaking Beauce, you know, in fucking Abitibi.
Célibataire et nu.
I know, fuck.
All right, so today on the agenda, so we got a couple things I'd like to talk about. So there hasn't been too much news in the in Canadian politics. We always like to focus a little bit on Canada here.
Yeah.
We got so the tariffs. They're on, they're off, they're on, they're off. No one really. I don't want to spend too much time on the tariffs. I think ultimately he's probably going to tariff some stuff. I think, to my understanding, we talked about this. He did tariff steel and lumber or something.
Steel and aluminum.
But did that pass, or he's thinking?
No,
about
it is. It
passing
was signed.
It was
signed. The only thing here, and I just got this just on the tariffs real quick, because again, I think it needs to be said, and people don't realize it. I just wanted to read just some real quick. The tariffs that Canada levies and impose right now on U.S. products, and that has been going on for years, by the way. This is not new. This is like, it's been predating Trump and whatnot, right? So we have milk, 270% tariff, cheese, 245%, butter, 298%, chicken, 238%, sausages, for some reason, 69.9%. Lol. I mean, whoever passed that, whichever premier or prime minister did that is like, oh, let's have some fun. You know? But then, like, even like copper, 48% tariffs, aluminum, 45% tariffs, steel, 25% tariffs. We tariff their metals more than they tariff ours. You know, cars, 45%, TVs, 45%, eggs, 163%.
How does that work for tariffing American cars? Because at the end of the day, I mean, the brands are American. So how does that work?
Well, let's say like it's a Chevy. You want to sell a Chevy in Canada, it's going to be 45% more expensive than the U.S.
But we don't make any. Usually tariffs are to protect like your own industry, but we don't have any Canadian car manufacturers.
I don't think they give a fuck. I think it's just a way to make money. Don't forget, because this goes to the Canadian government, right? So it's a way to levy
you're
money.
right, because we have to buy cars anyways.
We do. And since we have no domestic production, and I'm sure we do the same thing with German cars. Like, for example, whenever I'm in Europe, and I see all these Benzes or these Audis or BMWs, like, sure, they're still luxury cars, but there's considerably more of them over there. Or even like in Sweden, Volvo's everywhere. Sure, it's Swedish, but it's just, for them, it's domestic production. They don't have that tacked on, probably roughly, let's say, I don't know how much we charge Europe, but it's probably 40% as well. So here, everything's going to be 40% more expensive for cars. Which is kind of wild.
Interesting.
Especially considering Canada, we're such a big country, we need to drive.
Yeah.
Like, we have no public transport.
Yeah.
So
Unless, well, that's not what our climates are things. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
How many people got stuck outside?
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll get to just a couple of things. So I want to talk a little bit about carbon tax Carney.
Oh, yes.
How he's essentially trying to hide. They're not get. He's going to explicitly say that they're going to get rid of the carbon tax, but he's just going to basically go through the back door, and he's going to basically tax businesses, which are ultimately going to pass that cost on to consumer at the end of the day. It's kind of like the digital services tax, the example that I gave with Google. So if there's a 3% tax, I spend $100,000 every single year on paying for ads. I mean, the Google is not going to absorb that 3%. They're just going to pass that 3% cost, the $3,000 onto KBD insurance. That's what they're going to do.
And you know, by the way, what is going to happen now, because Trump, and this was not talked about, and I read about this real quick, but the digital service tax is going to end up costing a lot of Canadian companies as well. Beyond that, see, the president in the U.S., Trump, right now, what he wants to do, he wants to use a special clause that he has in the IRS. I don't remember exactly which clause, but it allows him to tax foreign-owned company that are domiciled in the U.S. at twice the rate. And he's going to be using that to weaponize and to kind of like hit back against Canada for all the stupid fucking taxes we impose on the U.S. companies. So he's just going to say, fine. You know, he's really taking a tit for tat approach. You guys tax us or tariff us. We're just going to do the same for you.
We're just going to say, right, yeah.
You know, it's reciprocal at the end of the day.
But then I'll just to play devil's advocate, because he said something else, because you just said there that basically people that are set up in the U.S., Canadian companies set up in the U.S., or any company for that matter, but he's also saying at the same time, and Trump says a lot of things. So,
he does, yeah.
You know, not everything is like, there's like a 72-hour rule where if he says something, wait 72 hours to see if he actually passes what he says he's going to pass, because he says a lot of stuff. And he said that he's trying to ultimately get the manufacturing. He's basically like, if a company has a factory over in Canada, for example, and they bring that production over to the United States, no problem, we're not going to tariff you. So, but it's kind of counterintuitive to what you just said there.
Yep. It depends, because he gets to decide which company. It's purely.
So probably if it's like manufacturing and production, he'd probably want to have that's going to create jobs versus like an internet company, which isn't really.
Yeah. And the digital service tax is pretty much going to hit American companies. Let's be honest. All the platforms, all the digital services.
Yeah.
They hail from the U.S.
Yeah.
Canada, we don't, aside from like Shopify, we don't really have much here.
No.
So it could be applied more on a scalpel level than a hammer level. You know, tariffs is more like a fucking hammer.
Yeah. This
is more of a scalpel. So it's a tool that I didn't even know about and found it really interesting. But
very interesting.
We'll see.
All right, so we got that. Next, we're going to talk about, this is an interesting one. So it's called the happiness index. I've never seen this, but we're going to pull up the clip on X a little bit later. It's so Canada, we used to be 5th in the world. We've definitely dropped off over the past 10 years. It's always funny, like everything's dropped off over the past 10 years. It's always 10 years. And by the way, this is not just like dropping off. This is in comparison to other countries. So it's not just like, yes, the world is going through a bit of a lull. There's a lot of things going on, and I'm not just going to put all the blame on the Liberal Party. I'm not going to say that. There's a big part of it, but the world is changing geopolitically. Stuff's starting to break, so we'll take that for what it is. After that, we got this is really interesting. So the AFD, so they're the media is going to refer to them as an alt-right, a far-right political party in Germany. They're currently polling in second. So for those of you that don't know, this is the party that Elon Musk was actually supporting. So they're going to try and spin it as like, oh, these guys are Nazis. But they're polling in second, and they have an election that's coming up very, very, very soon. We'll get into that. This is actually really interesting. And this kind of ties into Mark Carney. How this relates to Canada is the fact that Mark Carney is a pro-globalist person. We'll get into that. And a lot of countries, Pierre Poilievre is not pro-globalist. Donald Trump is not pro-globalist. This party, AFD, is not pro-globalist. And they do not like the fact that they're part of the European Union. They don't like all these policies and procedures that basically do not benefit their own countries. So the populist movement is alive and strong. So we can get into that. JD Vance gave a 15-minute speech at the AI summit or whatever it was called.
It was something about defense. It was a defense summit. So,
and we'll get into that. And JD Vance, by the way, I loved everything that he said. And instead of having how do we make AI safe? The tone of the speech was, we have a beautiful opportunity here. We're in the lead for the AI race, and I do not want to lose to China. And he put this, he's so eloquent when he speaks.
He's really good.
And he's like, yes, safety is definitely super important, but I would much rather take the risk of not being as safe. That's not the right word, but take the risk. Let's drop the regulation, because the alternative, and the alternative being China winning the AI race, is going to be a lot worse than the other scenario. Number 6, this is a really interesting one. So in Canada, this is a tale of two data sets. So Canada, you got StatsCan saying that in January we created 76,000 jobs. And then you have another report from, we'll get into it later, I don't remember off the top of my mind, but when we pull it up, another report saying that the unadjusted numbers were actually negative 173,000 jobs. So
who's right?
Well, one of them's wrong. So one of them is definitely wrong. Yeah. So it's, and we could get into that, because if you go to like the Canadians and basically, Chris, they're feeling we're in a vibe session, everything's great, don't worry about it. But then the average Canadian's going like, so we have record people going to the food banks. People can't afford to live. People can't afford to buy a house. People can't afford food. People can't afford a car. People can't afford like a lot of things here in Canada. And yet they're going, no, everything's fine. Everything's great. Shut up. Just listen to me. Vote for Mark Carney. We're going to continue doing this. You're going to love it.
You're going to love it.
So, yeah.
It's pretty much what it is.
Let's start with Shamar, if you don't mind. Can you please pull up? We're going to try something a little bit new today, and we're going to, so just be a little patient with us today, guys. So carbon tax, I'm not going to say that. So let's pull up Mark Carney, his most recent interview. He's with some gentleman from CNBC. Okay, so here.
My strength is I know how the world works. I know how to get things done. I'm connected. I can deliver for the country. And my weakness is, people will charge me as being elitist or a globalist, to use that term, which is, that's exactly, it happens to be exactly what we need. My weakness as a politician is I've not been a politician, right? So I didn't go straight into, as you observed, the killer. The point was right, but the delivery was, I'm working on it.
With the arrogance, man. The fucking
arrogance. So
arrogance.
he's like, okay, so he literally full blown just came out saying, I'm accused of being called an elitist and or a globalist, and that's exactly more of what we need. So I don't know. Personally, I don't think you should be kind of saying that, just like flat out saying that we're elitist and globalist. I pulled up some facts. There's definitely pros and cons to globalism. So I'm not definitely going to say like, oh, globalism is bad. We shouldn't have globalism. Globalism can end up being beneficial. So for example, if we're going to get products and services, in particular products from China, it's going to be less expensive because the manufacturing is less, it's less expensive over there. They pass those savings on to the consumer. And like stuff for us, if we go to Walmart, we go to Amazon, we buy all these things, it does benefit the consumer at the end of the day. But there's, there's always a give and take, and there's also some bad stuff that comes with globalism. Right now, I would definitely agree with the fact that the world is moving away from globalism for an array of reasons. One of them being the possibility of global conflict, one of them being just like populist policies, another one being basically that a lot of people, I think, feel as if they've been left behind, kind of like all those, all that additional productivity has kind of been captured by the upper class, the elitists, like the businesses, the corporations. They're making piles and piles and piles of money, and yet the average person, the consumer, doesn't feel, they don't feel like that those extra productivity gains. So I'd like to hear what you have to think, but I just want it. So I wanted to ChatGPT. ChatGPT sometimes it hallucinates, but a lot of times it gives good answers. So here's a couple things that ChatGPT basically pointed out. This is the downside to globalism. But I just want to say, like, I'm not an complete anti-globalist. There's pros and cons, but here are some of the cons. So number one, economic inequality and wealth disparity. So while globalization has lifted millions out of poverty, it has also widened the gap between the wealthy and the poor. That's for sure. Large multinational corporations benefit from cheap labor and tax loopholes, while local workers in developed nations face wage stagnation. Example, the outsourcing of jobs to lower-cost countries. Number two, loss of national sovereignty. Globalism often means international organizations like the UN, WTO, IMF, World Bank influencing national policies. Countries may feel pressured to adopt policies that do not align with their citizens' interests due to economic dependencies or foreign influence. Also very true. And I'm going to get to my point at the end of this. Number three, supply chain vulnerabilities. This is a big one going on right now. So everyone's reshoring, but there's a possibility we're going to have global conflict. It's probably not a good idea if like all these critical chips are being made overseas and China can get their hands on them. What happens if we can't get the chips? How are we going to fight? How are we going to live day to day? So over-reliance on global supply chains means that disruptions in one country can impact economies worldwide. Number six, and I'm almost done here, sorry, this is long-winded, mass migration and border issues. Economic and political instability caused by globalism leads to large waves of migration, creating challenges for host nations. Some argue that mass migration strains public services, alters cultural identities, and fuels social tensions. Sound familiar?
A little bit.
Yeah. Number 7, corporate monopolies and loss of local business. Globalism favors large multinational corporations that can operate across borders, often crushing small local businesses. Absolutely true. Example, Amazon, Walmart, Alibaba have expanded globally, putting local bookshops, retail stores, and suppliers out of business. This is definitely something that's happened. I got 2 more. Dependence on foreign manufacturing kind of ties into the point I just said earlier. Many Western countries have outsourced critical industries. Example, technology, pharma, rare earth minerals to other nations, making them vulnerable. Last but not least, political instability and populist backlash. Many citizens feel that globalism has benefited elites while hurting the working class, leading to a rise in nationalism and populism. Thank you, ChatGPT. Honestly, I think this hits the nail on the head. So the point I am trying to make about why I want to pull up that clip about Mark Carney is he represents more of the same. And at a time when the world is moving away from globalism and is putting more emphasis on populist policies, meaning policies that benefit the working class, the average man, I don't think that he's the wrong place, wrong time. Maybe back in the 90s when globalism was booming, perhaps he could have been the right candidate back then. But when the world is gearing up for the possibility of war, when the world is trying to reshore all the manufacturing, you got the US that is definitely not globalist at all. There was a clip from Pete Hegseth. Someone asked him about Ukraine. It was the shortest. Like, are you guys going to send troops to Ukraine? He literally looked at them like, there's no chance we're sending troops to Ukraine. Next question.
Yeah.
It's so obvious that this is not the stage we're at in the world. And essentially, we need to follow what the U.S. does. Not really, it's not really even a choice. It's kind of like the Federal Reserve. Whatever the Federal Reserve does, we kind of have to do it next because they're such a big country. They have so much influence on the world and a lot of influence on us. Whether we like it or not, we, in my opinion, should be following what they do because we need them a lot more than they need us. So that's my big rant. I would like for you to kind of comment. And I guess just to wrap it up into a nice, neat little bow, Mark Carney represents globalist policies, World Economic Forum that do not benefit, in my opinion, do not benefit the average person.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It never benefits anyone. When it comes to globalism and versus nationalism, I'm personally pretty big on nationalism, and I'll use an analogy to explain why I see it this way. See, take a table and put, like a table right here, right? And put 5 different cans of paint. 1 yellow, 1 red, 1 green, 1 blue, 1 orange, whichever colors you want.
I like pink.
You're like, fucking, let's get a 6th one, pink.
Okay.
Now, you can admire all different colors, and you can have a favorite one. You could like pink, for example, and I like red better. But in the end, you can look at all the different colors and appreciate their differences and their variations and whatnot. And some days you can like a little pink more, a little bit more green, whatever. Now, that's nationalism. That's different cultures, different people loving who they are. They can still appreciate and care for other paints, other countries, other places, but nonetheless, they keep it to an extreme or to an extent separated and as is. It's a unit. It's a culture. It has a common heritage, a common background. The people care about who they are first and foremost. Globalism, I liken it to taking all 6 cans of paint with the pink and dumping it on the ground. Now, all you beautiful little individual colors are all one shade of brown. And here's the fucked up thing. You can never go back. You can never unmix those colors. You can never go back to the individual identities that make it so unique, so beautiful, so different and cherished. It's forever mixed and fucked. And we're seeing it right now in Canada, whereas, again, a lot of people have a hard time defining who is a Canadian, what is a Canadian, what is the culture of Canada, what do we have to offer to the world? And we're becoming so dependent on other countries as well. During the Rona, we saw with the supply chain completely breaking. At the time, I was dealing a lot with supply chain companies. I mean, our platform was offering a boatload of raw material, and when businesses shut down, I got to see how badly people were looking for raw materials, and they couldn't get their hands on it. They couldn't get it from China the way they got it normally. They couldn't
talk about Canadian companies.
Canadian companies, okay. Exactly, right? So it was almost like a little wake-up call to say, hey, we shouldn't be so reliant on foreign supply chains. And yet, it's almost like we forgot it. We're back on the same boat. And globalist leaders like Carney, that's exactly what they want. They want to break down the social fabric of a country, what unifies and ties everyone together, and sacrifice it to the altar of some faceless, godless, entityless global power. And it doesn't benefit you or I. And it's easy. Again, I know you want to talk about the happiness index, but is your quality of life today better? Like, sure, we're a little bit older, careers, money, whatnot, but like overall, is your gut feeling, is Canada doing better today than it was 10 years ago? It ain't for me. I look at it.
No, it's definitely not.
It
I
ain't
mean,
for
and
me.
if you look at all the data, I mean, it's also telling the same story. Like it's just not. And I think, like, again, I always say the same thing. It's not like he's not. I don't think it's ill intention, and he has some master plan to make everyone slaves, and he wants to rule the world. I don't think that's what it is. I just think it's a little bit. It's like it's a little bit naive. It's a little bit, and he's not a stupid guy. He's a lot smarter than I am. But it's just like it's bad timing. This is not the time where we should be implementing globalist policies. That's not the cycle that we're in the world right now. And I just think it's like it's time to basically prioritize nationalism, and we got to think about ourselves first. There's a big wake-up call that Trump got elected, and there's a lot of other political movements going on around the world that are saying, hey, this globalism is not working for me. I feel like I'm losing my culture. I feel like this is definitely benefiting the elites. It's not benefiting me. You guys are not listening to me, and this is kind of like what's going on. I think the Liberal Party is they want to continue. In my opinion, I think Mark Carney is just another continuation of what Justin Trudeau was trying to 100%. Do, except he's a lot sharper. He's a lot smarter than Justin Trudeau. He'll probably execute it a little bit better, but I think it's just more of the same. That's my opinion.
Let's hope he doesn't execute better than Trudeau, because did you see the speech he gave to a bunch of supporters maybe a few days ago where he invokes emergency powers?
Yeah, I didn't watch it though.
So effectively you have Carney talking to supporters, right? It's a rally. And he says that, in the fight with the U.S., this trade war we're in, it seems like Canada really wants a trade war because we keep referencing it as a trade war. And he says flat out, verbatim, that the federal government needs to utilize all of the powers that be, including emergency powers, to get the upper hand on this trade war. And it's like, what, emergency powers? Are you out of your mind? They're supposed to be used in a time of war, actual legitimate war, or national crisis, not because a foreign fucking government puts tariffs, reciprocal tariffs, may I add, on your goods. That's, again, just more control. These people live in this bubble.
They like control.
They love control. Ultimately, that's what it is.
You're definitely
right. It's all about control. And tying it in, by the way, with the globalist thing is that by destroying the culture and the nationalistic pride of people, what you do is you demoralize them. Because as you see your country falling apart, your society faltering, you have no sense of, in French, appartenance. You don't feel like you belong to it anymore. So you don't really fucking care. It's, you take a place like, I don't know, say I came over to your place, right? And I started throwing trash on the ground. You'd be like, what the fuck? It's my place, dude. Like, treat it with respect, right? But look at the way a lot of people come here to Canada and treat Canada, because they don't see it as their country. They just treat it like a fucking dumping ground.
Yeah, it's complicated. Yeah, I'm gonna let's move on to the happiness index, please, Shmar. And this kind of ties into what we were just talking about. So this is interesting. So this comes from X. So from the C.D. Howe Institute, Canada ranks 15th in the 2024 World Happiness Index, down from 5th in 2015. For those under 30, Canada ranks 58th, one of the worst declines globally. Once the happiest group, they are now the least happy in all of Canada.
No doubt, by the way, for the 30 and under.
Just hold that up there for a couple seconds, Trevor, if you don't mind. So, yeah, look at that. So this is so interesting. I want to analyze this a bit. 60 and over. So they're happier. And we talked about this before. So I think this is why, here's my hypothesis. They are majority liberal. Like overwhelmingly, they're going to vote for the liberal party.
Yeah.
My hypothesis is most of these people over 60 own a house. Their house has doubled in value.
Well, you see it exactly. Their happiness started peaking right at the beginning or the end of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like 2021 when the housing prices started shooting up.
That has to have something to do with it.
Of course, wealth is super important in people's happiness.
Okay, so we got that. Age 45 to 59, like dropped like a freaking, what's the saying? Dropped like a tank. I don't think that's it. 30 to 44 dropped, and then basically below 30. So essentially, like below 30, because you can't afford a house. That's my job.
No wonder we call them Zoomer Doomers.
Yeah. But if you look at, but that's so interesting. Over 60, they're actually like significantly or pretty much just as happy as they were back in 2000. And this is all the way back to 2008. In 2015, it's actually pretty much stayed the same since 2015, the happiness index. So since Trudeau's been elected. And since 2015, if you look there, boom, dropped like a freaking stone. 45 all the way down to 30.
Fucking insane.
Yeah. So it's like, again, you can't argue with data. Now there's going to be a bunch of people in the comments going to say, where'd you get this data? Did you pull it out of your ass? Or, they're going to say something like that. And there's all kinds of data all over the place. But like the point is something has happened over the past 10 years. Stuff has broken down. I don't care what you say. And it's like, you can tell me everything and you can keep telling me that everything is all gloomy and everything's fantastic and there's rainbows and there's, potlucks and there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, it's not adding up. I think the average Canadian feels like that too, except for, and this supports our hypothesis, all the people that are over the age of 60, or I think it's like 55 and over, they're majority liberal. I think life is good for them. Number one, they don't really care. They're probably retired. They're towards the end of their life. Number two, since COVID, the value of their house doubled. So they doubled their wealth. Their stock portfolio went up because of all this quantitative easing. Yep. And you know what? For them, the cost of living's up a little bit, but you know what? Not nearly as much as my stock portfolio in my house.
Yeah. And their expenses are not nearly as high either at that level, right?
Yeah.
And
like
happiness is tight.
Does it make sense? It makes sense.
Well, of course, it makes sense. Yeah, no. Overall, people underplay how important wealth and income is. Not even income, just wealth is in people's happiness. If you're always worried about where your next meal is going to come from, if you're going to be able to make rent, if you're going to be able to afford to have a family, I mean, for fuck's sakes, man, there's more to life than just getting up, working a 9 to 5, and freaking waiting for retirement. Having kids, having a family, pursuing dreams and aspirations, discovering a bit of the world. You name it, that all plays in quality of life. And most importantly, also, not to worry. Always constantly worrying is not good for happiness, man, at all. So no wonder when you look at a graph like this, it's hilarious, legitimately, how it started going down at the moment that Trudeau, just a few years after Trudeau got elected. But again, there's only one demographic group, age 60 and over, that has gone up, and that's right at the end of COVID when their housing value went way the fuck up.
That's so bang on.
And then everyone else went down, except for the Zoomers. It stayed really low because, again, I mean, fuck,
I know life's tough, and I just think I'd like to add just one more thing before we move on. It's like, I think that people below the age of 30, or let's go from, especially if you're a female, a lot of women, I think they would, a lot of men too, but a lot of women, they want to have babies and stuff. If you don't have enough money, you can't have kids today. It's too expensive to have
that's
kids.
The point too, though. I'm conflicted about that, and that strikes a low nerve, right? So, okay, let's put it this way. I stop and I think, okay, we have it pretty bad, and we do. Our generation is being fucked by the boomers and all the liberal policies that have been happening over the last decade. Granted, that is so true, and you cannot contest that. However, I mean, fuck, if it wasn't for our great-grandparents and our great-great-grandparents and copious amounts of generations before us that overcame wars and famines and plagues and tyranny, we wouldn't be here. They probably had it worse than us. All things considered, we have it worse than boomers. Granted, that's true, right? Our quality of life is lower, and our expectancy of income and wealth is actually lower for the first time ever than
the previous generation.
Exactly. But for fuck's sakes, humanity has overcome so much more. And here we are like, I don't want to bring a kid in this world because it's too expensive, it's too hard. I take a different approach. Just fucking do it and you'll figure it out. Because until you're confronted with it, it's not sink or swim, and you're going to make scenarios in your head, and you're just going to let life pass you by. Having kids, like it or not, it's not something you can do forever. Sure, us as men, we can have them a little bit later. It's not optimal, but we can. But for women, it's fucked up to think that past 35, it's considered a high-risk pregnancy.
Yeah.
Right? Now, mind you can have kids in your 40s, for sure. But you can't have kids forever. There's going to be menopause that's going to hit you eventually. And I am absolutely convinced, this is the first generation ever where we see women legitimately prioritizing careers over family. And it's a social experiment in my books. And I think we're not going to know the true impact of that policy and that shift in society until it's probably too late. And I think a lot of women are going to wake up one day thinking that, you know what, they were prioritizing their career. And
I'm already starting to see that. Yeah. I'm 36 years old, and you're starting to see some females that prioritize their career, and they're getting to the point now they don't have a mate. They're basically like, if you're 35 or 36 and you want to have kids, you better figure that out real quick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they're starting to go like, yo, I was kind of dealt a bill of goods that's just not real. This is not fulfilling for me. I want to have kids, and like
it does not fulfill you, man. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Look, building a business and a career, it's amazing. I love it. But look, ever since I have a son, right, all I want to do now is have like fucking 20 more kids. It's not easy, dude. It's rough. Like, I'm sick right now. Why do you think that is? Because my fucking son's sick. Okay, cool. But man, it hits the core of what every human being is here for, to survive and to reproduce. And it fulfills you in ways you'll never imagine. And I really wish it on the both of you one day, if that's in the cards for you guys. But, you know, if I can just say a message, sure, it's hard to pay for everything, and the future does look fairly bleak, but the only way to guarantee a better tomorrow is for you today to have kids and raise them well in the hopes of a better tomorrow. And that's what our forefathers did with us and with our parents and grandparents. We cannot be where the lineage ends. Imagine you have like thousands of ancestors that are looking down on you, and what you're gonna like, or other people too, you're gonna be like, it's too hard to have fucking kids and to pay.
Yeah, right.
Like, fuck that. It's true. It's hard.
Just do it and figure it out.
You know who says that? Elon. Now, mind you, it's easy when you're a fucking billionaire.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see his a new kid just came out?
Yeah, he's got a new baby mama.
He's got a new baby mama. He's at 4 now.
You know what? I'm sure he's got other ones too.
Oh fuck, for sure. And then you have Tate, who just came out.
I heard that Elon is building I have no idea whether this is true or not. I heard he's building like some farm or some place in Texas where he wants all the baby mamas to live together and have all the kids. They can all grow up together.
Well, you should just go to Utah. That sounds a lot like a Mormon.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's like I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Just go to fucking Utah.
Whatever floats your boat.
It's legal over there. Just go to Utah, my man.
Yeah.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, but all right, moving along. We got the next point. So, AFD in Germany. So for those that don't know, the AFD in Germany, what the legacy media will refer to as the alt-right party, the neo-Nazi party. I don't think that's accurate, but essentially, so they're polling second right now in Germany. You're probably asking, like, why the hell are we talking about Germany? What the hell does this have to do with Canada? What does this have to do with me? It has a lot to do with us. So they're polling in second right now. Polls, I've learned, and I think everyone should. You should take them with a grain of salt.
Hillary Clinton was going to win 98% chance.
Yeah, 90 exactly. Brexit. There's a lot of stuff where polls you have to take with a grain of salt. And so this alt-right party, I'm going to stop calling that, but the AFD, essentially, one of the reasons why Elon Musk is supporting them is because they are the populist party. They're the same party as Donald Trump, or they're very. They have similar values and similar principles.
Well, they're nationalistic.
Yes.
They're anti-woke. And this is a big thing for Elon, because you know, he says that he's lost his son Xavier to the woke mind virus, and he's on a crusade against it, right?
Yes.
And but yes, keep going. Sorry.
So it's no. Thank you for adding that. And I'll put it this way: if the AFD wins, they are going to try to separate from the European Union. If Germany separates from the European Union will cease to exist because they depend too much on the economy of Germany. Germany subsidizes a lot of Europe. And if the European Union falls, Europe is already fading off into irrelevance. I don't think this is just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that the people who run the European Union, who work out of Brussels, they're unelected bureaucrats. They are not elected. They have no skin in the game. So when they make silly ideas, silly deals with countries like Russia, and they refuse to buy the oil off Russia, they don't care that the energy in Germany and other places in Europe is 4x what it was 5-6 years ago. And for them, and we got it really good in Quebec, like energy to heat our house is not expensive. Imagine if you're paying $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month to heat your house. These bureaucrats don't care. And again, I just want to reiterate the fact they have no skin in the game. They are not elected. So for them to pass these policies, they just don't care. They seem to be fixated on destroying Russia. They seem to be fixated on basically controlling what you're allowed to say. So this, again, I'll loop it all the way back to Mark Carney. the world is moving away from globalism. If the AFD wins, this is absolutely a move away from globalism as well. We are in a cycle at this point in time in the world where countries do not want to be globalists. They're becoming more nationalistic. And I just don't think it's the right time for Mark Carney to come in. We need to be basically taking care of our own selves, become more nationalistic, reshoring manufacturing, et cetera, et cetera. I'll let you take it from here.
Well, I mean, you take care of your own before you take care of others. Even bring it down to even a smaller level, right? If everyone took care of themselves first and foremost, and then after that their immediate family, and then after that their extended family, and then finally their communities, and if every fucking individual did that, eventually every country would be better, right? Now, the AFD, what I find despicable in Germany is that all the other parties are talking about forming what they call a firewall in the event that the AFD
I heard this.
gets or acquires too many seats in the Bundestag, their parliament. So please don't make fun of my German. But how much of a FU to the pretty much call it a quarter of the population, if not more, to say that your views are wrong.
Don't count.
They don't count. And we will do everything in our power to oppose you because our way of thinking is more important than yours. What honestly grinds my gears.
Bro, that's bang on what you just said.
That's what it is, right? Now, on top of that, what grinds my gears is to see the arrogance coming from these people.
Couldn't agree more.
We have the monopoly on how you should live, think, and behave, and anyone who dissents is an enemy. And then, of course, they'll label you all kinds of things. Right now, for them, it's Nazis, it's alt-right, it's the cuckoos of this world. We saw the same playbook with the Democrats in the U.S. labeling Republicans and Trump supporters as a basket of deplorables or as legit Nazis. They call them Nazis as well. And it is a typical trick used to, again, demoralize people, is you insult them, okay, and you label them some extreme positions. And it makes it very hard after that to humanize and sympathize with these people. And you see it again, how violent the left has become because they legit believe that they're righteous in fighting back against Nazis. They think of all of us as Nazis.
The way, like, I see the left today more as a cult than a political party.
Yeah.
Because there's, like, people who are on the right, and if, let's say you're on the right and someone else moves over to the left, someone on the right, like, okay, well, I get your decision. I mean, I don't agree with it, but you're going to do what you're going to do. Like, you know, you're allowed to do that.
You're free to do.
And people on the left, if you move from, let's say you're a Democrat and you become like a Republican, they will ostracize you. They will destroy your reputation. They will completely just disown you. Like, I don't want to be associated with you.
They see it as a betrayal.
Yeah. It's like they worship the party before they worship the country. The party comes first. And I think this is consistent with liberals in Canada. This is consistent with Democrats in the United States. And this is consistent with other parties in Europe as well. The party comes first before the country. And I think this is like one of the reasons why people are slowly but surely moving away from it. And thankfully, more people, I think, are waking up to this. They're like, hey, this arrogance that you guys are displaying, basically saying, like, who are you to tell me what I'm allowed and not allowed to think?
And the party over country, it's very obvious. This party over country is very obvious with the Liberal Party.
Yes.
And the move of Trudeau to prorogue Parliament, which serves no interests of Canadians and only the interests of the Liberal Party. But speaking of which, did you see that in the federal court there was a motion to challenge that?
I did.
Over the last couple days, there was a group that challenged the Parliament proroguing or the order to prorogue Parliament. And right now it's being deliberated by the judge. That would set a massive precedence if the court interferes and forces Parliament to come back. But it wouldn't be the first. In Canada it would be, but it happened in the UK. So
recently?
It happened in the UK. I don't remember why. It was with Boris Johnson. He had prorogued Parliament due to the fact he did not want to debate a certain topic because it would have been a losing topic. So he just prorogued Parliament. And someone challenged it in the high courts in the UK. And the UK said that no, prorogation was used as a personal weapon rather than a usable tool for democracy, and as such forced the Parliament to come back into session and to pick up exactly where they left off. So the people who challenged it in Canada did use the UK as precedence or as case law, because us being a Westminster parliamentary system and sharing a common heritage with the UK, some of their laws and constitutional ways of doing things can be applied in Canada to an extent, or at least considered in arguments. It's going to be interesting because if the judge rules shortly that indeed prorogation was unconstitutional or done in for the benefit of the party rather than the country, we could have a parliament and a vote on confidence ASAP, anytime. That would definitely throw a wrench in Carney's plans and the Liberals' plans right now.
There's also the fact, though, too, that the call it like the honeymoon period. So basically, like, he was up in the polls. Some polls say he's up. Some polls say, again, who the hell knows with these polls? Take them with a grain of salt. But he also might be thinking, just food for thought, hey, by the way, I want to take advantage of this honeymoon phase. I'm up in the polls, or I think I'm up in the polls. Let's call an election right away. I want to take advantage of this.
But first he needs to be the leader, which is not
correct.
yet.
Yes.
But I would be hilarious that, let's say next week Parliament is forced back into session, vote of non-confidence, election is declared or launched, and then, the Liberals don't even have a party leader, and then appoint unilaterally Carney, which to me would be like shooting himself in the foot again. It would be a Kamala 2.0 pretty much at that point. I hope Canadians would be wise enough to see through it. I hope
so too.
Yeah.
I hope so too. We got a little bit off topic there, but I want to talk to, and we're going to tie that back in. So maybe we should have just, that's my fault actually. But here, JD Vance. So he gave a 50-minute speech. We're going to tie this back up to the AFD in Germany. And for the viewers out there, I just want to actually say the control of speech, and a lot of time, you got to be really careful with these buzzwords: hate speech, misinformation, disinformation. I think there's another information word that they're always using. But there's all these buzzwords that a lot of politicians like to use. In my opinion, the way I see it is just they want to control what you're thinking and what you're saying. And this is where it becomes a slippery slope. Who becomes the arbiter of truth when there are rules around what you're allowed and not allowed to say? Who makes the rules? And it's a slippery slope in the sense that if you have a government that actually has the best intentions behind, maybe you're right, maybe they actually will not abuse their powers. But what about the second that a government comes in and they have the power to actually to penalize you for what you're saying or what you're thinking? This is like it's, how do I say this? You're essentially giving them powers and that they can use or not use at their will. So a lot of times governments will be like, oh, I want to have that power, but don't worry, I'm never going to use it. But they still have that power. So if the next person comes into power and it's just like a politician who's just power hungry, all of a sudden they can start totally abusing their power. So I want to show this clip, please, Shamar. So let's take a look here. This is, by the way, sorry, just to preface this. So this is in Germany. So look, German prosecutors appear to find it funny to raid the homes of citizens. They're shocked, ha ha ha. So essentially, we'll play it after this, but they're essentially talking about is it illegal to say things online, and you're going to be actually completely shocked with this video. Go ahead, Shem.
That's clear. Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes, it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes.
The fine could be even higher if you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there. If we are talking here face to face, you insult me, I insult you, okay, finish. But if you in the internet, if I insult you or a politician,
that sticks around forever.
Yeah.
If somebody posts something that's not true, and then somebody else reposts it or likes it, are they committing a crime?
Yeah, in the case of reposting, it is a crime as well, because the reader can't distinguish whether you just invented this or just reposted it. That's the same for us.
Do you want these three people looking like that to make fucking rules about you're allowed and not allowed to say online?
It's a bunch of little soy boys.
Dude, this is insane.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of these kids in the playground. That it's like if something happens, like someone says something to them, they run to the teacher.
The teacher.
Like, oh, this person insulted me. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You don't want government to come and police speech.
No.
Man. You don't want that. And I'll tell you exactly why. It's because if you cannot hold people accountable through free speech, because again, if you disagree with an idea, you can always challenge the idea, right? And if you disagree with a politician or a way of doing things, you can always keep that person accountable as long as you're allowed to say what you want to say. But as soon as you start restricting what people can say and you start policing what is true and not, as they said, right, posting false information is a crime, then that inadvertently leads to tyranny and absolute control.
And this is the point that I'm trying to make, and I know you agree with this. It's just like, okay, if it's blatant and there's disinformation going online, okay, fine. But then what about when the lines are blurry about what's true and what is not true? Who is the arbiter of truth?
Well, we saw that.
But like, who you're gonna tell me that these people here? What if all of a sudden someone from the AfD says something, and because in Germany, this is why free speech is so important. They are petrified of the AfD party because they're afraid that they're going to lose the next election. If they lose the next election, they lose a lot of power because they are most likely going to separate from the European Union. This is a fact. These people, so what they can do now, because these laws are in place, is essentially say, oh, you're part of the AfD party. They can go in and say, you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that. And they become the arbiter of truth. They can use it to smear you. They can run a smear campaign against you. They can use it for political, to prosecute you for prosecution. So like, this is dangerous.
And this happens also in the UK, by the way. The UK is just as bad. There have been people being arrested in the United Kingdom for posting memes online. This is not a joke. This is alarm. This is like 5 alarm level fucking catastrophe.
And this is why a lot of people in the in the European Union are waking up to this. They don't like this. This is not free speech. This is back in like the Middle Ages when you would say stuff and the king would come and arrest you or just kill you.
Yeah. It's 100% what it is.
Yes, and it's like people need to they are slowly starting to wake up to this. More and more people. There's still a lot of people that are not waking up to this, but more and more, they're going like, hey, holy crap. Okay. Like they used to think, if someone's dropping N-bombs online and they get arrested, like, look, you shouldn't be doing that. I don't agree with the fact that you should be arrested. But look, I kind of get that when it's like clear cut cases, this person is saying these things. Okay, fine. But then again, I'll reiterate the fact. What about when the lines are blurry? And the exact same example I just gave. If they want to use this to prosecute their political opponents, it is such an easy tool that they can use.
Yeah. I have more of a cut and paste, black or white view on it. I believe all speech, period, should be free. Or let me rephrase. I believe all speech should be free. Period.
So you agree with the American, basically the American doctrine?
100%.
Yeah, so do I. Unless what is it? Unless like you're threatening to kill, I think you can't say that. Or something.
Yeah. Okay. So there are, and it's true. Look, there's a few things, right? First, people are going to say opponents to free speech are going to say, yeah, but you can't, for example, slander people. Well, first of all, slandering is not a crime. Okay, it's a civil matter, and yes, you're allowed to sue anyone. I was slandered by the media before. It's not the first time. I didn't sue them because in Canada you can't really get any punitive damage. It would have cost me more than whatever I could have gotten from that fucking TVA. Fuck you. But Yves Poirier, mon petit mangeur de merde. But you'll never see this, but I hope you do. So now, however, okay, and then there's the whole like hate speech thing, right? But it's hate speech. Again, it goes back to who's the arbiter of what hate speech is in the first place. And second of all, why are you so concerned with people saying something? If you disagree with it, if you believe it's hateful, then spread peace through it. If you, for example, if someone, okay, let's go extreme. Someone comes and says, I believe that X group of people need to die, right? You can just call it out, say like, that's wrong, that's malicious, that's evil. Why would you want such a thing? You can challenge it, or you can ignore it and let it go into irrelevance, right? Trust in people. Believe that people have the rational and the wherewithal about themselves to filter what is real and not, what is good and bad, what is evil or not, right? But this whole gouvernement, that's French for like nanny state, all right, of always having to pre-chew and pre-digest every piece of information so that you don't have to think too much for yourself, ends up costing us way more, and it also softens everyone up to the point where they start asking for more of these laws because my feelings were hurt online.
Yes.
That's fucking
And
insanity.
This is where like you have to kind of formulate your own thoughts, your own arguments. If you disagree with somebody, you can respond to them trying to make them agree with your reasoning.
Yeah.
And you have to do that by presenting facts, by being well spoken, by being articulate, and being able to properly articulate your thoughts.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with disagreement. Dude, I couldn't agree with you more. Like
there's only one thing I would say: death threats.
Yeah.
that, because, and then threatening anything to anyone could be construed as something that's about to happen, an impending attack. And even in the US, certain stand your ground laws for like self-defense says that if you have imminent fear of life or a threat on your on your life, you can defend yourself up to lethal force. So death threats, that should not be protected. That is the only caveat. And I mean, the only caveat. Anything else, I don't care if you start proning some of the most hateful rhetoric in the world. I'm either going to, contest it and tell you like it's stupid, you're an idiot, or I'm just going to ignore it. But I don't need the government to go and arrest you for it. Because guess what? Today he's arresting you, and tomorrow maybe it's arresting me.
And just to give like some history, just like but you're right. And just to add on to that, to give like a little history lesson, the reason why the forefathers in the U.S. did this for free speech was because they were not allowed to say a lot of things because they came from they were a British colony essentially, and they would police speech as well. And so they said, eventually, if you do not have free speech, how do I say this? The alternative. So I don't like the fact that people can say whatever they want to say, and they can insult me, they can slander me, they can call me a piece of shit. Like it's not nice. It doesn't feel very good. But the alternative, and the point we're trying to make and trying to present this free speech argument, the alternative is much worse, where a government can control what you can say and what you can think. And it's only a matter of time. It is a slippery slope that eventually they will abuse.
And it exists right now. I don't think any one of us are looking at North Korea thinking like, what a fucking lovely place to be, right? And this is a place where if you're not, like, for example, if you're not crying at the death of the great leader, you can get arrested and killed because you weren't crying. You know what I mean? This is extreme control. But again, to think that we're above that and we'll never devolve there, there's always going to be bad actors and people who want to abuse their authority.
What's happening in Europe right now? It wasn't like this 20 years ago in Europe.
We have to think about it this way, and this is something I think we forget history very quickly, right? We're living in right now in a period of anomaly. And what do I mean by that? We're living in a very peaceful time, all things considered, and a time of freedom. This is an anomaly in the history of mankind, because mankind, far and large, always lived under tyrannical rule, or at least absolute rules. Now, you could have had like a good leader, say like Marcus Aurelius, who was a great Roman emperor. Okay, cool. But you could have also had a tyrant running. And it all belonged on the whims of one individual. And you know what? Today, we, in the last 200-300 years, have been an absolute anomaly that some countries in the West and in the East as well, some of them, have been free to self-govern, and people have had democratic choice and the ability to speak, to communicate, and to dissent against the ruling authority. This should be the most precious and the most well-guarded fundamental right we have, and it should never, and it kills me to hear anyone want to dispute that. They don't realize we'll go back to what it was before, because it was like that before. It is the norm. Well, the norm is being controlled.
The people who are naive will just say you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, Elliot, don't worry about it. Stop worrying so much.
Well, the big difference, it seems, between conspiracy theorists and the truth is about 6 months.
It was funny, just like a little tangent. There was like a little, I think it was a CNN clip or MSNBC, and they still couldn't admit the lab leak for COVID. They're still like, it's looking like, it's a very low probability, but it's looking like that the lab leak the COVID escaped from a lab leak in China.
It's been confirmed.
They still couldn't even come out and say it. They can't do it.
And it's been confirmed by the director of the CIA, Ratcliffe. Man, I'm so happy to see Tulsi Gabbard being the director of national intelligence. I mean, this is a woman who just a few years ago was on a TSA no-fly list. She was ostracized by the Biden administration, and now she runs all intelligence. It's insane. Good for her. And also, by the way, time to make America healthy again, eh? RFK.
Mahazen.
Mahazen, man. Fucking crazy.
I mean, they're getting a lot of stuff done, and it's just like we kind of skipped over this, but I just want to touch on that speech, which kind of ties in with Europe as well, and kind of ties in with Canada. The speech he gave on AI was a 15-minute speech, and long story short, he called out the Europeans for over-regulating everything, which they do. Canada is kind of very similar. They like to regulate. He waved his finger in their faces a little bit, saying that we don't need to have more AI safety seminars. We need to be having AI growth seminars. How are we going to grow this thing? How can we grow this thing responsibly? And instead of thinking, how can we regulate this and make it safe, I'll put in quotation marks for other people, how can we become the leader in AI? And he put this so eloquently in one of his tweets. he said that, yes, there is definitely risk with deregulation, with AI. He goes, absolutely, I'm not going to say there's no risk. But the other option, which is China winning the AI race, and right now the Americans, and again, take this with a grain of salt, the Americans are saying that China is about 6 months behind in the AI race. He goes, the alternative, which is China winning the AI race, is much worse than us taking the risk with this deregulation. Yeah. And it was I found a very encouraging speech. And the last point I'll make is the Germans and the European Union, they were offended by this. They were upset, saying that this was irresponsible, this was that. And I just want to say this one point, and I think I already said it earlier on the podcast. The European Union, whether it's now or another year, 2 years, 5 years, is coming to an end. They're on the decline, and these bureaucrats, especially the unelected bureaucrats of the European Union, are hanging on for power. Yeah. The pendulum is swinging to the other side, and it's time to go into an era of smaller government. Yeah. I hope this is what happens. The world seems to be moving in that direction. I hope Canada can follow. I hope the European Union can follow. And because, dude, I like Europeans. You know, we're all part of the West. We're all allies.
I love the culture.
Yeah, it's like we all get along. We don't need to be fighting.
No.
And, you know, I'd much rather have them as allies as not. And it's just a small group of bureaucrats that are just trying to hang on to power, that are ruining it for all these other people. That's my opinion.
Well, I think you're spot on. You hit the nail on the head. And Europeans, it's the constant regulation of everything. I mean, there's a reason why they don't have a single $1 trillion company. Not a single, right? Their stock market has been pretty much flat for the last 2 decades.
It's insane.
There's nothing coming out of Europe.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, the real life hack right now is to have a North American income and to retire in Europe, okay? Because life is easy, like, it's chill, it's whatnot. But I mean, Europeans are initially, they come from a culture of fucking, you know, I don't want to say colonization, but it was aspiring for more. It was conquering. It was innovation. It was like the Renaissance. You know what I mean? Like, God, so many good things came out of Europe. And right now it's just an entire culture in decline.
It's like a womp womp.
Yeah, pretty much. And that, again, it's Brussels, man. You got to cut the head of the snake in Brussels.
Well, they're done. They're done.
Hope so.
They're done. And even if the AFD, like, there's probably going to be some funny business going on in this election stuff. Even if they don't win, it's only a matter of time before
and then you
they'll
have in
win
France
eventually.
Too. In France, you have the FN, Front National, right? Which is,
but it's
AFD.
just because the longer that the left-leaning political parties stay in power, just the worse it's going to get. Yeah. There's going to be more immigration that's going to come in. People are, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree with all the immigration, but people clearly don't like all the immigration. They feel like they're losing their culture.
More than that, they're losing their lives, man.
Yes.
Fucking the things that are happening right now. Even during the speech of J.D. Vance, he used the fact that like a day before, some illegal immigrant who was set to be deported, by the way, and he managed like to stay in the country for some reason, rammed this car and killed X amount of people. Right? Sweden, my cherished Sweden,
dude.
Right?
A lot of Swedes are pissed.
Sweden has become the gun shooting, the gun violence, and the grenade violence capital of the fucking entire continent of Europe, right? Yeah. You have a city like Malmö, which has freaking grenade attacks. What the fuck? Yeah. It used to be like a peaceful place. Like, Swedes are super quiet. And it blew my mind. When I was in Stockholm or like even Göteborg and Gothenburg, it cracks me up because you're walking the streets and all you see is like blonde, blue-eyed people everywhere. And people are very soft-spoken, very kind of like, they stick to themselves. Their demeanor is very, very quiet. And then you'll see like this white BMW. You can guess who's inside, right? Windows down, blasting music, like screaming on the phone. And it's like the cultures don't align. It just doesn't align. And it creates a clash. And everyone loses, by the way. Like, it just, when people are polarized and not unified, it's divide and conquer. It's the good old strategy of divide and conquer. And that's probably one of the reasons why a lot of these elites in Europe and in Canada and in the US as well for the longest times under a Democrat want to have that mass migration, is because it demoralizes and splits people apart in smaller factions that are too busy fighting each other instead of standing up for themselves against the powers that be. That's what I'm going to say.
Last point. I've got some Canadian data. Okay, so this kind of ties up into, again, the happiness index and all this kind of stuff. So, can you pull up Shem's our last one? All right. So as for Daigneault Foch, I think it's Foch.
I like that guy though.
Yeah, so do I. I follow
very good stuff.
Yeah, I've seen him on TikTok. So
I need to follow him
this.
on X right now.
So yeah, so this is really
you could do that right now.
So Canada gained 76,000 according to January, the most recent jobs report. Canada gained 76,000 jobs, or if you look at another report, they lost $173,000. 73,000 jobs. Depends on which data set you look at. So Stats Canada said that we added 73K jobs. This report from the gentleman, what's the source? Anyways, I'll tell you that a little bit later. So the unadjusted unemployment rate rose to 7.1, according to the report that says we lost 173,000 jobs. The unadjusted unemployment rate rose to 7.1% in January, the highest since COVID in 2021. Mm-hmm. And then here's just another interesting stat. How the heck did Alberta lose 21,000 full-time jobs in January? They are the shining light in Canada with regards to private sector jobs. So how did they lose 21,000 full-time jobs in January? And yet the Canadian government, Stats Canada, is basically saying that we gained 73,000 jobs in January. And they're Justin Trudeau made a tweet about it saying, oh my God, look how fantastic everything is. And I'm just going to go back to the same thing again. I don't feel like the economy is doing very well right now. And this data from Stats Canada says everything's great. Everything's doing fantastic. You should be thanking me for how fantastic everything is. And it just doesn't feel that way. And I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. I'm seeing it in my business as well. There's not that same and that same like, oh, we're making sales, that same bounce when I'm coming into work every day. Everything's a little slower. Everything's a little bit more sluggish. Clients are, they have less disposable income. There's just, I don't know. It's like, are we in a vibe session, or is this like if you had to guess, because one of these data sets is wrong, which one would you pick?
Ultimately, you know what? My reliance on data and on mainstream narrative is so low now. So I rather go with my gut feeling. And this is something I think we should all get more in touch with, is our fucking instincts. All right. Are you feeling better? Are you doing better? I'm not. And my friends are not. And my family is not. And the people I talk to, they're not. And when I go on social media, I don't see people happy and whatnot. It's the opposite. I see doom, gloom everywhere. So I don't give a fuck what the number says. I believe, honestly, we've been losing jobs, or the jobs that we have. It's what's, definition of stagflation, right? We're having like, okay, maybe jobs are staying the same. The income is not rising. Inflation is kind of like, crawling upwards a little bit. But another thing too, it's like, and this is why you can't trust politicians. They're telling you like, yeah, inflation is back down to 1.8%. Job accomplished. It's like, okay, you're just going to wipe over the fact that, sure, it's 1.8% now. It's still 40% more expensive than it was 2 years ago. Yeah. It's like, did you just blanket wash? And people don't understand that. Now, I'm not saying that deflation is necessarily better. We're just fucked. So, yeah, Canada, we've lost some jobs. I'm convinced we've lost some jobs. Convinced. And if we haven't, 76,000 jobs. Fuck, our economy should be booming, man. We have so many natural resources, so much to offer here. It should be like, everyone should be employed. We should have an unemployment rate of like 1%. That's what like Canada should be like. It should be like fucking vibing, a real vibe session. There you go. People should be vibing for real. I don't know, man. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like we'll end it on a happy note. I think right now that I would love to see something shake up in Germany. Just because I think it's going to be a wake-up call to the rest of the world. It happened in the U.S., happened in the U.K. If it happens in Germany and it dissolves the European Union, it won't right away, but like they're on that path to dissolve the European Union. And I'm not against the European Union. I'm against unelected bureaucrats making the rules and regulations for the European Union. That's what I'm against. That's what Nigel Farage is against in the UK. So the pendulum is swinging to the other side, and I hope that here in Canada we can kind of recognize that it's time for the pendulum to swing the other way as well. Yeah. And back to the happiness index that we saw. No, but it's so interesting. It's clear as day. People that are 60 and over say, everything's fine, everything's fantastic. But the reality is, it is fine and perhaps fantastic for them right now. Your net worth doubled.
Yeah. And their pension is funded too.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not shitting on them. Like, good for you guys. You've earned it. You're retired. You're 60. You paid the way. You worked. You lived the Canadian dream. It's your time to relax. So I'm not against them, what they're doing. But I'm just saying it makes sense why they still want to vote for Liberals, because they are living the good life. They're not stressed about anything. They have all this money, and yet the people that are below them are not living, they're not experiencing Canada in the same way. They can't get ahead as much. It's a lot more difficult to start a business. It's a lot more difficult to get a good paying job. It's next to impossible to buy a house. So the experience that they're living is a lot different than these guys. So, let's call a spade. The cohort of 60 and over, they're going to vote Liberal.
Oh yeah, more the same.
Yeah.
Which is fine because again, the Liberal Party.
But it's like, but I don't
centrist.
Yeah, but and I don't. I think we agree on this. Like, I don't fault the 60 and over for doing that. I get it.
Well, I mean, I don't fault them in the sense that I don't want to start pitting people against one another. No, I don't fault them. They're making decisions based on their variables, the variables that affect them. Our variables in our lives are very different than theirs.
Yeah, it's like I live in the West Island. If you go in the West Island, it's a pretty well-to-do place. Everyone in the West Island, they're all liberal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody's liberal.
Fucking, there's no job more safe than Francis Scarpaleggia's job.
Oh God.
God.
No,
they're the liberal MP. In
yeah,
West
they're
Island,
all liberal, but it's like, I get it, man. Because you go around, you look at it like it's an aging population. You look around, there's a lot of Q-tips, white people with white hair on the top. So everybody's a Q-tip. And dude, they probably own their house outright. They got a beautiful stock portfolio. They live in a nice, safe neighborhood.
For now.
They voted liberal. They voted liberal their whole entire life, and life's been pretty good. So why would they not vote liberal again? I get it.
Sure. Until, they're going to keep voting liberals until their fucking car gets stolen in the middle of the night.
We're not in Oakville.
No, but I mean, fuck, it's happening in the West Island more and more.
I know.
Like, it's legit happening.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, with the snowstorm, probably not so much. People are gonna get stuck in the snow. But yeah, fuck, no, you're right. We're not Brampton. That's what we're not.
Brampton's bad. But a lot of places around GTA. Any closing words you'd like to add in there, Elliot?
Well, I'm speaking of Europe. I'm gonna be in Europe for the next month. So
I'm gonna try and join you. I haven't gotten around to that.
I would love for that to happen. And in the meantime, though, hopefully good things happen in Canada. Looking forward to coming back here, hopefully under a new banner, a new name, and continuing to do this, man. I love these conversations, and you always hit it out of the park, my friend.
You as well, man. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks, everyone.